Good morning, my name is Johanna Olivares and my partner is Linda Mendez. And today we are going to explain a very interesting topic that is linguistics. And in the same way, we will explain its different branches. So, when talking about linguistics, it's necessary to mention to Ferdinand de Saussure, who is considered one of the most important founders of the modern linguistics and semantics. He wrote the book Course in General Linguistics, where he examines the relationship between speech and the evolution of language, and likewise he investigates the language as a structured system of signs.
Well, in this, the first thing you need to take into account is that the word linguistics has been derived from the Latin. In this sense, we have two terms: lingua, that means tongue, and istics, that means knowledge or science. And therefore, linguistics is the scientific study of language. And it is not the study of one particular language, but of all human languages in general. So another important thing is that the role of linguists consists of investigating how people acquire knowledge about language and how this knowledge interacts with other cognitive processes. To sum up, the role of linguists is to analyze or study the origin, the evolution, and the structure of a language.
So now linguistics is divided into two major branches. They are theoretical and applied linguistics. So theoretical linguistics deals with the components of language, and within this branch we find phonetics, phonology, syntax, semantics, and morphology. And with applied linguistics is the combination of some science with linguistics. In this branch we find sociolinguistics, psycholinguistics, neurolinguistics, but later we are going to explain each one of them.
Well, as for the theoretical linguistics, it comprises fundamental ideas about the nature of language and the major subdivisions or manifestations. In this case, the following: phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics.
So talking about phonetics, it's all the sounds we know in a particular language. Phonology is a subcategory of phonetics, and it's how those sounds or phonemes are organized in a particular language. It deals also with intonation, stress, and accent. Finally, morphology is how those words are formed, what their grammatical forms are, and how and why word forms change. In short, morphology is the language and how a particular language form those phonemes into meaningful pieces. But in order to better understand these three concepts, we have this image. So, for example, the phonetics corresponds to each sound emitted by the kids. For example, table contains the sounds a, b, and l. The phonology part is these sounds organized in a particular language. In this case is English language. So in English we have table, in Spanish tabla, and in French table. But these sounds are organized into meaningful pieces. Likewise, we have the intonation. We need to pronounce these words into a correct way. In this case, it's table, and instead of table or something like that. So finally, the morphological part is how this word is formed into a meaningful order.
Well, as for the syntax, it makes reference to the system of rules and categories that allows words to be combined to form sentences and phrases, but in a logic and coherent way. To be more specific, it makes reference to the order that we give the sentence or a phrase. For example, here we have two sentences, and you can see that the first one is correct and the second one is not. The first one is, a student painted the house. Why this sentence is correct? That is because it respects a structure, a logic structure, or the grammatical category, that is, for example, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, etc. In this case, we have an article, the subject or the noun, the verb, the article, and a subject. But the second one, it doesn't any sense because it doesn't follow the rule or the sequence of a sentence. Well, the semantic is the study of the meaning, and within this branch we are going to find two key terms. For example, denotation, that means actual and objective meanings, and connotation means associated, personal, and subjective meanings. From this image, we can say that the denotation is that it is a creature, a dove, an animal, or a bird. Meanwhile, from the connotation, it can represent freedom, peace, love, or happiness. And finally, from the pragmatics, and it is the study of meaning, but in the context. For example, today is Thursday, and from the semantics, it means that today is weekend, but from the pragmatics, it may imply suggestion or invitation.
Finally, we have the applied linguistics. Applied linguistics describes the language and how and teaches how it is learned and used. So some fields of study of the applied linguistics are sociology, anthropology, psychology, education. And some areas related to applied linguistics of interest for language teacher are composed modern, second, and foreign language acquisition. So in general, applied linguistics is the combination of some science of fields of study with linguistics in order to explain or describe a language or the phenomenon within a specific language. So finally, we have the references if you want to look for more information about this topic. So thank you so much.